Spice. It's the spice of life.
The Dune spice.
Uh-huh. What do we look at this. You can't have it yet, but you will soon.
Be you.
Look at this.
People are asking about it.
Of course. It says so right on the back. It's
People
our,
are
it's our
asking
cat
about the
and our
berg.
cloud. Anyway,
What's up with Jared's berg?
you're about to go skate. You're about to take a moment. You're
About to go
to
skate.
find your inspiration.
Get out of here.
Yeah. You said you wanted to get inspired.
I'm trying to get inspired.
That's kind of been like a couple weeks now. You're working on that, yeah?
I was actually just trying to remember. I totally spaced right now. Homeboy's name. He just started working for us. It's his third day.
Enrique, shout out.
Enrique, dude. Enrique was bummed because I said San Francisco's a shithole, but
Is that what he told you?
yeah.
He's all, it's not, dude.
Apparently, it's the second best city or the best,
Next to what, New York?
like Paris or something like that.
Oh, in the world.
Anyway,
Is that who rated it? Anyway, everybody's got a rating.
probably someone from San
I
Francisco.
think we got third in the United States
They're all, yeah.
on one of the food magazine things too.
So yeah, San Francisco is crazy, but
Well, shout out Enrique. He
it's
asked for
fun
a
to
shout
go,
out,
dude.
so
Enrique
hey,
got some good energy,
ask
dude.
and you did shall
Got the
receive.
good energy. Thanks for listening, Enrique. What up?
You know what? A lot of people have love for the city and the Bay. That's
People
okay.
do have love for the
They're
city
allowed.
and the Bay. Oh yeah, it's totally fine. I
Yeah.
mean, everyone's been delusional at some point or another.
Faced out, dude.
Oh,
Trolled.
wow.
Trolled.
Damn.
So you've been working on your
I'm just trying
inspiration.
to get hyped. My routine has got me by the fucking balls, dude, and I need to break out of it.
You've overcommitted to your routine.
I just do the same stuff all the time, and I know a lot of that is what life is, but in certain ways, I need something else.
I get that.
I just need a little bit of adventure within the monotony.
Yeah, you're funny like that because you like need routine so much, or else you don't feel good. And then I'm hearing you talk about how you're like needing to break routine.
I need to do the things that I need to do, but I like to do them in different places.
Yeah, totally.
And
It's like you need your routine with different backgrounds.
yeah, I think so.
Maybe that makes that's.
I mean,
that's fair.
I need to get my brain activated in a different way, especially when I'm doing activities. Like
Right,
working out or skating or whatever. I mean, we used to skate spots.
right.
Which
Different
just
ones, right?
basically doesn't exist anymore. You know, we have different spots we go to all the time. Every day is an adventure. You just go around, and now it's harder to skate spots because more spots are just skate stopped.
Yeah, totally. They put
Skateboarding is way more popular than it was, which makes it harder to skate.
right.
Because all you fuckers who started skateboarding got enough buzz going, now they don't even build shit to skate anymore.
Right, they're capping
Everything's
everything,
capped.
and yeah, I feel you on
Hey
that.
man, if you're skating, have fun though. I'm not hating. I'm just
you should keep skating.
I'm just remembering a time when there weren't that many of us, and it was a lot easier to maneuver.
And they didn't. Yeah, totally. They didn't know how to stop you, except for try to call the
It
cops
just
all
wasn't
the
even
time.
a thing. Yeah, they're just like, fuck, call the cops.
No, I feel you.
Even with working out, I find it hard because I got the home gym, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to be in this garage right now.
Yeah. No, I get you.
It's
get you.
annoying. I hate it because I just need to. What I really need to do is focus on what I need to do, which is get the workout done. Don't worry about where you are.
I mean, yeah, but it can totally be boring. I mean, that's why for sure a gym works better for me. Otherwise, I fall into the routine of I mean, I have more discipline now, but I do less most of the time unless I have a specific goal I'm working towards. So if I'm just working out to be healthy, it really is more helpful for me to have like a gym scenario where I have to do something hard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll do it hard, but maybe not as hard as I would otherwise.
I think having the people around you is a key factor.
Helps a lot for me.
Yeah.
And I totally hear you with switching up the vibe or the background or just what you're looking at because like I am more able to be inspired and think more creative if my environment changes. I think that's pretty normal too. You know, it's like when we were writing the original shit for this whole company, I was so inspired through my homeless journey being in all these different places and cities partially because you're going to not get distracted by people who know you. And even if you do meet somebody who knows you, they're going to come and go pretty quick because they don't know you well enough to hang around. And you just get to be in these new places working on your inspiration while looking around and seeing things that you appreciate and don't appreciate with it. It's like everything's fresh eyes, even though you have ideals of where you're trying to go. So I totally get that part too. I just think I totally think it's funny because it's like even when we go to Portland, it's like you still like you do, right? You got your things that you got to hit.
Yeah, like
and they're the same things you hit here.
Yeah,
right?
it's the same. I'm doing the same
shit.
Mm-hmm.
So your routine is still your routine.
Yep.
No matter where you go, or else you're not good.
Yeah.
And even then, you're like, it felt like by the end, you're like, and also I need to get back home to get to my routine at home.
I need a lot of time alone.
Yeah, that's chill.
Like
Yeah.
that's like beginning of the day, end of the day. If
Yep.
I don't have a good chunk of time that's just to myself,
Yeah.
it's hard for me.
Yeah, it starts going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to. At night, I'll usually lock myself in my room.
Do you? Yeah.
And just it's for something for me about getting into total solitude.
Yeah.
Is where it's at, and the only thing that can kind of encroach on that a little bit, or like is accepted into that space, and I still feel chill, is my cat.
Oh yeah.
Like Max can come in and we can kick it, but Gino, no, he's got
too much
out.
energy.
It's too much. It's
interesting.
You know, he's just
you've got Garfield in there, and that's it.
me and Garfield
Eating your lasagna,
just chilling, like music playing.
Yeah.
In the zone. I feel like that's when I get a lot of my thinking done and my mental reset.
Are you writing in those moments? Or are you just kind of like doing what comes to mind?
I've been kind of free-forming it lately.
Yeah.
I've been writing while I'm doing other things. So
right. Because I know you like watch YouTube videos and things like that.
I haven't been watching YouTube that much anymore. I've been kind of logging my tapes still, which is the ongoing process I've been talking about.
Yeah.
But each tape is an hour, and because I'm transferring it like from a tape-based format, I have to be there for the whole hour in case something glitches. So I'll have like that going, and then I'll have a spreadsheet open just to take notes on what I might see.
Right.
But then I'll have my notepad, and then I'm kind of just jotting down ideas when I think of them, or kind of processing the day. Like yesterday, I took a lot of notes on the coordinator training that we sat into. So Levi and Herman hosted the first official coordinator training.
Yeah, our beta version.
Yeah, so in our sphere, coordinator is kind of the first step into leadership. You know, if you're a team leader, you run the cafe, or you run the roastery, or you run the marketing department, and then your kind of right-hand person is the coordinator.
Right. Named so because they're going to help coordinate the entire day and how it works and how it flows and how the team operates. Like that's their focus is operations plus deeper intro into leadership, and obviously under the context of mission, vision, values.
Yep. Good name. Yeah. You came up with that name, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. So I just had a bunch of notes from that whole thing. Yeah. Which was 3 or 4 hours, and I just kind of was highlighting okay, this kind of resonates, this kind of this resonates, and then just logging that.
Sure.
I have a card system that I'm filing up, like starting up. So I got
in your room.
Yeah. So
like we're talking like flip through, like
yes,
old school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I bought a really nice card holder. It's like powder blue. It's kind of got the cat and cloud.
This is where you and Levi are like overlapping on a deep level.
Yeah. I showed it to him. I was like, look what I found. And he's like, oh, is the top riveted on? I'm like, yeah. He's all, hell yeah, it is for sure.
I'm like, totally, dude. Does it spin and hold my cards? Fine.
It's like it's not a spinny one. It's not like a Rolodex.
Okay.
It's a literal like almost like a tabletop cabinet. So you flip the top open, and then you have all your index cards. So we were kind of geeking out on organization, and John Maxwell, who writes a lot on leadership.
Books. Yeah,
he's got so many books,
like 29 or something.
He has a card filing system. I was talking about it with Levi, and Levi said, "Oh, Ryan Holiday, who is the Daily Stoic guy, also authored so many books. He has a card filing system too." So he sent me a video link.
Got it.
But it's basically, the ability to take things, because here's what usually happens is we'll have a meeting like that. I'll write down shit in a notebook, and then that was a cool idea, and then it just lives in that notebook.
Yeah, makes sense.
And you either have one big notebook, and you have to put a billion sticky tabs in it,
or find it.
Yeah, you got to go find it. So with the card system is basically like you take all the ideas that are really important, put them on I'm using 3x5 cards, which is what John Maxwell uses. So it's a little bit bigger than a normal index card. So you have enough room to write or cut and paste things out. And then you drop it in the thing, and then you can
with a category.
Yeah, and you can file it under a topic. So if you're like, oh, I want to do a talk about this, or I want to write about this, or this could be useful for an upcoming meeting. It's just super easy to find.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of I'm getting started. Like I just have everything ready, and I'm like, okay. I talked to Levi the other day about He's like, how's the system going? I was like, I haven't actually put a card in there yet. He's like, you're overthinking it. I'm like, I'm totally overthinking it. I want like the card to be formatted perfect.
Oh yeah.
And he's telling me what I already know, which is completely good advice. That's
right. Just
dude,
put a
just
card
fucking
in there.
put a card in there.
Yeah,
and then you can,
you can
figure
always
out
add
the format
to it too.
along the way. Yeah. Maybe you replace it. Maybe you redo it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe it's you only use this much, but you have all that to add. It's
yeah.
chill.
So I'm kind of starting with that. So it's just like working on.
It's a good idea.
Those kinds of things.
I might steal a version of that because I've been organizing. I have like multiple organizational things, and a lot of them are digital that I transfer from physical to digital.
Yeah.
But the thing is the organization of it and being able to find what you want for when you want it or when you're thinking about a topic and being able to revert back to something that you've thought about before, because I'll often go back through my stuff and be like, oh yeah, that's important. And then I'll like resave it again to make sure I can find it easier. But it would be really just kind of simpler to put together a filing cabinet of sorts.
Yeah.
There's a million ways to do it. I don't know how you're doing it for me, but
I should send you the video that Levi sent me on the Ryan Holiday one. So it's not him doing the video. It's someone who has read his books and he just made a video about it.
Yeah.
But he does his analog, but also has a Google Sheets or an Excel spreadsheet of whatever's in the card file.
Mm-hmm. Just in case he's like traveling or something.
And he's like, some things are could fit under multiple
that'll
ideas,
always be my issue too.
Or have multiple things in them. So he can go look at the spreadsheet if he wants something that's on
multiple tags.
Like communication, giving feedback, and this, oh, that's this card. So it's basically almost like Dewey Decimal library system.
Categories. Yeah, that would probably be, and has been actually one of the reasons why it's been not a struggle, but why I have them in multiple places. Because it's like I'll find ways to they'll overlap. Yeah, it's just like a whole thing.
It all overlaps. So I'll do shit like that.
That's cool.
Or just
whatever.
I've been trying to give myself space to just be there, draw pictures or doodle things, figure out, I don't know, whip up that new hat that we're gonna make for early next year. I was like, oh, cool. It's easier for me to do that work.
You do need the space
in the evening when I'm just chilling. If I try to do it during the day, after yesterday, we were in that thing for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, just smoked afterwards.
Had conversation, and I'm like, I'm not doing shit right now.
No can do.
Yeah, I'm fucking done.
No, I ate the food and exercised. And that was more than that, but generally that was basically what happened. It's 1:30, you've eaten breakfast only, and it's time to go.
I was like, all right. So I just do stuff like that. But yeah, I need to be alone. If I'm not alone enough, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. Even with Jenny, I'm like, you gonna go out of town or what?
Right. Yeah.
It's just, which maybe sounds weird, but dude, married life it's different to navigate now when I was used to having my wife goes to work.
Right. Oh yeah.
So she goes to work, and then she goes to work every day, and that's part of the routine. And I can count on this much time to myself. It's really easy to get time to myself. And now she'd working from home most days, so it's not as easy to find that time. And
especially at home, right?
Especially at home. And if I don't make an effort to create that time, it's easy to just have all these tiny interactions throughout the day. It's really easy to get distracted working from home when there's other people at home, and
there's not a lot of places to work not from home where you're not going to get distracted.
That's the other thing is I can't go to the coffee shop anymore.
Any of them,
and just kind of sit there.
Kind of any of them. Any of them that have the coffee that we like, at least. We could probably go to some of those other ones locally and get away with it, but even then, maybe not, because somebody will probably roll up and be like, "Oh, what are you doing here?
What are you doing?
This is a good joke I'm gonna throw."
Are you checking out the competition?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm really worried about Mr. Toots taking over. Considering we're here for power plays, you forget.
Don't you own this place, or do you own another place? Yeah. Wait, aren't this all one place? The only place I can actually do work most of the time is Captain and Stoker.
Yeah, for sure. That's far enough away, and you're not going to get.
Nobody knows me there, and unless I see Tyler or Kelsey, I'm probably not going to.
For the most part, it's small interaction,
and that's fine. I enjoy talking to them. I don't talk to them all the time, and if I
Monterey's a good spot for that for me too somehow. Like it's when I get down there, I mean I don't spend enough time doing it, but it seems to be a good place for me to get space and just kind of do stuff.
Far enough to get a
Different
reset,
headset,
but
yeah,
close enough
space.
to do a quick day trip.
Mm-hmm,
A little 30-minute drive.
I know it's so close, but people don't go often. They think it's far.
Not far.
Like sometimes it takes that long to just go to the west side.
You can go across town.
Or east side.
Take almost as long.
Or you can go to a whole nother town. Well, I feel you. So you're gonna hit that. You're gonna go skate. I'm gonna. What am I gonna? Oh, I'm gonna go all the new coffees. We're working. Props to the roastery squad. I'm having them really not teach themselves, but lean into what they know, and then I'm gonna help them taste. I had them roast all the single origins because we got our roaster serviced, so a bunch of whatever. Everything's working optimally, which it wasn't for a couple weeks, and they were doing a great job. But now I'm having them kind of reprofile everything that we had to profile with the subpar roaster for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also having them roast every single origin that they're reprofiling with answer curve of the wash coffee.
Oh yeah, Andre said he was going to do that.
And I want them to do that because I want them to experience. They just never have. They don't know what they don't know.
I would be really excited to drink some of
so
those coffees with like some really solid development.
Oh, dude,
and just like
they're going to be. Part of me expects that a couple of them are going to be better, but I'm also going to make them pull them all as espresso to start to see, or at least to develop the difference in how coffees will taste. Basically, simply as that. Like, as they get into developing the truth, I'd love for them to understand how far they can take coffees without having to do it, like to be the curator myself, essentially, right? So I'm just helping them to learn how to curate the future confidently. And that'll be really exciting. I'm super amped to taste all those coffees today. So that's what I'm going to go do next. And then I'll probably make, because Andre loves, baristaing, make him pull all those coffees for his team over the next couple weeks as espresso, the single origins. And then I just think that'll allow us to really have some fun with, even if we just want the truth to have like a really unique experience on roast level alone, like that is a whole other window and door we could open that we just haven't. So I'm pretty amped for them. I'm excited to go taste all those coffees.
Yeah, I feel like for me, some of those espressos are probably going to be like Holy Grail style.
They probably, honestly, they probably are going to be. Some will be like competition style coffees, and they don't know it, and that's what I'm looking forward to showing. Hopefully,
some of those really exciting electric coffees and roast it like that. Oh boy,
yeah, dude. We got Faldone will go in there. There's a bunch of just really tropical coffees that we have right now that are fantastic, but I think they're going to still be just as tropical and fantastic, but maybe have a lot of a lot of creaminess, a lot of body.
Pull it to where it actually has some fucking weight to it.
Yeah, where you're like, holy shit, this is everything. This is everything that I love in coffee.
It's one of the most frustrating things to me is that like people aren't accepting that there is any kind of middle ground for espresso to where it's either people are making it, it's like a super big yield and it's really light.
Sure.
But it's just kind of thin and it doesn't sit on your tongue. It's
because they're doing like they're hitting the TDS numbers. They're not hitting the flavor numbers.
Yeah, the mouthfeel's not right. Or it's old school style.
Right.
Just
it's dark.
Just ristretto, like darker ristretto, early 2000s, whatever.
Sure.
But there you can pull big shots. You can pull shots with appropriate volume.
Pete Licata
have that pillowy feel and
all
that weight and the body and everything. It's just
we love that coffee, and it's funny because so many people don't get to taste this, but Pete won barista competitions with coffees that when we were more excited about the light, bright, explosive, all that, he was pulling coffees that were like, dude, that is a very, for lack of a better term, boring coffee. And he'd win every time. And the coffee was not boring at all, actually. It was that we were a little younger and not understanding the full opportunity, the full perspective of what could be. And so it's funny, like, dude, he won, and he won with a juicier coffee at Worlds because it had to be that way for the rules. But at the same time, dude, he was really good at that, and I always remember him tasting our coffee and be like, I love that. It's so bright and clean and all this, and he would actually like the coffee, I would pull for a comp, and you would pull for comp better than his own, but he would win because he knew what he was doing, and his coffee was still delicious. Not a preference per se.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was going to win, and it's a trip to me that you can. We just fell into this place. Well, now it's all geishas that are crazy anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
sure, I don't even know. Competition's like a whole other thing because then you're outsourcing what you mean by quality to someone else's rules and regulations.
Yeah, it's not your company's or your
It's not your individual take on what espresso can be.
Yeah,
it's a kind of a check the box thing. Mm-hmm. It's like if I do this, that, and the other, I will have the best chance of winning. So whether or not this is my favorite coffee or favorite roast style or favorite extraction really doesn't even fucking matter.
Right?
Because we're playing.
I'm here to win.
We're playing a game here.
We're playing a game.
We're playing a fucking game.
We got some fucking rules.
But I just think that there's, there's the short, fast, hot roasters, and then there's the old school roasters. But not a lot of people are dancing in that middle ground.
Yeah.
So I think that the answer line, because the answer as a roast level,
still middle ground, right?
It's a medium roast, but I think that's the magic where it's with those coffees in it specifically, because it's not all roast there, where it's interesting enough to be unique, but familiar enough to be comfortable for those who don't know. So, but then you take coffees that are more just
inherently
wild and crazy, or just have a lot more nuance or excitement associated with them, and roast them like that. It's like you can get some like juicy, thick bombs too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Fuck them, bro.
Yeah.
Just go.
I'm looking forward to tasting those today, and I don't know, just talking through it, because the trends have everybody loving light naturals. Whatever's the most fruity on the table, no matter what it is a favorite, and that's been hands down, with the exception of our most senior, our Jen Swen, our you, me, Chuck, Grace.
Are you talking trends in the company or trends in
probably
the
all
industry?
across? But I think both. It's both and right now.
You think that's because barista turnover is so high?
Probably. I mean, it's that, but it's also the trend of all of these attempts at unique processing styles in the context of anaerobic.
It's like
which
we're in the
just
anaerobic wave.
Yeah, the anaerobic wave is here, as is all of the other processing experiments, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they are louder. I mean, it's interesting to go for us. Right? We cupped a table recently, and we cupped a natural and anaerobic table, and we cupped a washed table, and it's the same thing that we experienced when we went on that trip to Costa Rica, right? It's these super clean, delicious wash coffees from places where the coffee is pretty expensive are the cheapest ones, and the anaerobic ones that are amongst our least favorite are the most expensive, because the ability to, it costs more to probably produce the anaerobic ones. There's more care and work that goes into that one potentially. And the naturals are more expensive as well, because the trend is...
We have a marketing power behind it.
Exactly.
It's a thing that's different than the other things, so you can charge more money for it.
Yeah, and it's working in our favor because we don't have to pay as much for what we would arguably say are the best coffees on the table.
It is really weird, though.
It's super weird.
It's weird to be in an industry so long where you see all the different waves.
Mm-hmm. And it's just it'll keep going until people settle down and find...
It was like naturals were special and super, and then there was this period where naturals, you were a piece of shit if you like natural coffee, and then now it's the anaerobic wave. It's just, yeah, I get, like, the economics are so strange, because if you're a producer, it seems like you want to do anything you can to leverage what you have, to get more money, the money that you, which is still probably less money than you probably deserve.
Absolutely.
And make your coffee more marketable, even if it doesn't make the coffee taste better.
Right.
Like, it can be more popular, more on trend, but not necessarily better. That's why I asked about the turnover, because new baristas almost always have an affinity for natural coffee. Like, people who are new to the game, people who are new to cupping, new to whatever. Yeah. It's the thing that they can recognize. It's so easy. It's so, oh my gosh, that's different. That's amazing. I've never had coffee that tastes like that. That's wild. So you get, and it was the same thing when we were cupping in Origin. Like, the people who were loving the naturals were the less experienced coffee professionals.
Yeah, and it was 90% of the people there at the time.
It just was what it was. So that's why I'm wondering, it's like,
I think what it is just it's probably that, right? People don't stay in it as long, and the people who stay the longest start to recognize that a lot of the natural coffees inherently take on similar flavors, and it's harder to see the nuance in a lot of them unless they're amazing. And then you can taste the nuance in them region to region, sure, but it's like the same flavor mixed with a regional flavor. So the ones of us who have been in this for a really long time and who can taste the proper nuances of coffee, like I'm sure sommeliers do with certain wines, it's like it becomes more about how can you find the most complex and unique coffees in their cleanest version, the single barrels, the single whatever, the non-blends. And it's not about them being better or different. It's about when you find one that's actually amazing all the way through, you can taste it. And it'll happen all the time on our table. I'll taste, my favorite coffee oftentimes will not be the favorite coffee of the people on the table. And I'll explain to them why. And they'll be like, to me, yeah, that one's kind of just like the most boring. And I'm all, to me, it's the most complex. It's just the least easy to witness in your mouth. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, it comes with time. I'm not flexing my old guy trying to like confuse you thing. There is a lot in this coffee that is not in all these other coffees. And that's the truth. That's just the truth now. So I imagine you're right. Like or people just aren't as committed as they used to be in tasting coffee as much, so that they don't develop as much of a palate, or they don't have teachers alongside of them who are helping them to see anything different. Everybody just kind of agrees with whoever's the most cool and awesome, which is where it's just true.
That's probably a big part of it.
Yeah, whoever's the most influential and who's around makes the cool.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Whoever shows up the most is by default the best.
Yeah, and that's true all around, right? They tell you just keep showing up and eventually you'll be successful. You don't even have to be the best. Just don't give up and keep showing up.
Yeah.
And
it's good advice.
It's good advice.
It's good advice as long as we get the right people showing up in the right places for the right reasons.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I'm sure we've all seen people show up in a space they really don't care too much about, and they're kind of exploiting.
Yeah. They ruin it a little bit.
Yeah.
And themselves maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I don't really want to
I get
drop names because
no need. But I feel you. It does happen. But they also they don't end up staying for the long haul, because something always inevitably happens where there's burnout, or there's something that just they aren't able to see it through because they're not there for the right reasons. But they will and almost always have their moments of shine and their moments of like being the person when they're that. And if they have any form of charisma or what's the word? Assertiveness, maybe? Presence is probably the better word. If they have any sort of presence, everybody who shows up and stays will have at least a little moment of shine, even if it's not going to be a good moment of shine for wherever they're at. It's been interesting to watch that over the years too. But they're also the ones who never keep a job and never.
Sometimes they do though. Sometimes they go
keep it.
Sometimes they go real hard.
I guess that's true, huh? I guess they find a place where it backs their style though, and so I guess that's fine. That's the world we live in. I guess there's a place for everyone. Maybe that's a good thing too.
I mean, there's difference between being a place for everyone and showing up to mislead. I don't know. It's like this is a bigger rant.
Well, yeah.
Okay, if you're talking about it in terms of just straight marketing and old school marketing, it's like okay. Let's say you rewind the clock and you're looking at how do you figure out what's good, what's bad, who do I trust, how does it work? So people market, people tell stories, people run ads, people put up billboards, people do all these different things. Let's settle ourselves into maybe the 90s or the 2000s or even further back. Whatever. We could settle into like this Mad Men era, vintage style things. So people who show up, companies, are incentivized to pump up whatever they have. And that is showing up. Now, whether they're going to do that in a wholesome way, in an honest, truthful way, or a way that's misleading that just helps them make more money but isn't really pushing anything bigger, forward, the
Mm-hmm.
same input of I'm here, I'm showing up, but
Right.
not really contributing to the culture in a meaningful way. But still, a ton of people will jump on that bandwagon and be like, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Right.
Fast forward to, more recent times, maybe 10 years ago or something, then you have this huge like switch to what most people would call influencer marketing, where it's like, I
Sure.
don't really fucking trust companies anymore.
Right.
It's much easier to trust a human.
Yeah.
So I'm going to trust this human. We have these platforms that give people places where they can show up personally and speak on
Sure.
things. But then as time goes on, that's becoming just as diluted as the shitty advertising space was before, where you see people fall into brand deals, you see people fall into gifts, you
Sure.
see people fall into things to where you're not really sure if the things that they're promoting are really the best for the culture, or are those things that they're just getting paid to talk about,
Right.
or
And now you have to start putting that this is an ad
paid to leverage. Yeah, this is an ad,
in certain
or you have to
spots.
be, more in tune as a consumer and be like, this doesn't say that it's an ad, but it kind of feels like an ad,
Yeah.
and I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
There's no integrity in a lot of these things, which is why it's really easy for people to show up,
Right.
sure as them, be accepted, but still mislead a whole bunch of fucking people in the process.
Yeah, dude.
which is kind of rough. Like,
I mean, it is rough. Everybody has the ability to have their own personal ideals and values, and then, man, and they get to use their life however they want. And it's pretty gnarly when you have some and you have strong beliefs. I mean, it's good too. That's why we have a company. We have values and ideals that we want to stand behind, and then we're doing what we can to help other people and spread something that matters in the way that we believe it matters. And we are doing it as honestly and truthfully and in the way we share as much as possible. Whereas other people are going to do exactly what you're talking about, and they totally probably feel like they're doing it right. And it's like, I would disagree completely and not resonate and have all these issues with it. And at the same time, like, I'm having such an interesting world where I'm having to experience that and be like, okay, like, I would never do that. And it seems like it makes total sense as to why. Which we have these conversations all the time. Like, how is this fucking possible that people do these things? And then now I'm starting to see that, like, I guess it's pretty possible that anybody can do anything and have, like, in their mind, like, a really clear justification as to why. And that's human psychology. It's also a little psychotic to me. And yet, fuck, you kind of just have to let that stuff be and try to get back in your lane and just attack, which is hard for me because we're a young and up and coming company battling against really
sure,
big, well-funded companies going hard.
that's a good point. You can't, even when there's these negative players, you can't focus your energy on tearing down the negative player,
Sure.
because that's not going to work, because that's not going to be, tearing someone else down
Yeah.
isn't a contribution from you.
No.
That is
It's a
also
defense
contributing
mechanism.
garbage to the culture.
Yeah.
The better way to go about it is to say, like, wow, okay, that person's doing that thing. Okay. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to show up even harder for good.
Right.
I'm going to show up even harder for like what I'm all about. There's a skateboarding company, they're actually in Santa Cruz, called Consolidated, and they're just kind of this small core little skateboard company, and they're just all about, local, independent, whatever. When Nike started pushing into skateboarding,
Mm-hmm.
they started running a series of campaigns, like ad campaigns, that said, don't do it. Like in the
Sure.
Nike font, kind of like,
Yeah.
just do it, but don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've gone to really great lengths to keep that thing going. There's a story, I actually listened to a podcast with one of the owners, and they were talking about how it's like at Street League or one of the X Games or something, they rented a fucking plane with like the banner flying off the back. It's like, don't do it. Like,
Yeah.
and the problem with that over the past 20 years is that their whole company, their image, their everything the only thing they have to show for what they do is the effort of trying to keep big name companies out of skateboarding. Like that is their whole identity. Their whole identity is I am anti-Nike.
Totally.
I don't know anything about them other than that, because that's all the ads they run. That's all the play they make. I'm like, who the fuck are you? You don't stand for anything. You only stand against something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're also not participating in your culture in a positive way. Like, I understand that you're trying to protect this culture that you hold dear.
Right.
But these people are here, and this isn't the way to do it. Like, you have to stand for something.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, and then people think they're standing for something when they're really absolutely standing against something. So that's one case. There was also that person we talked to yesterday who was doing everything in their company. They were making stuff, they were cooking stuff, they were managing stuff, and it came out in the conversation that it's like, yeah, we want to do it all in-house because we're like pretty anti-corporation and we're pretty pro-local. And that doesn't mean anything. Doing it all yourself doesn't mean you're pro-local and you're anti-corporation by any means. And that's such an old school coffee shop thing too in the world, right? I grew up fiercely independent was one of the ones I worked for, was what we said. And fiercely independent, what did it mean? It meant we roasted our own coffee and we essentially had a coffee shop and we talked shit about Starbucks and we talked shit about all these other companies, is what it essentially meant. And it doesn't mean anything else than that. It's just like, and guess what? Starbucks started fiercely independent too.
Sure. And maybe in like a tiny small microcosm that works for some people, in the sense of, let's say you have
maybe one shop.
You have one shop in a town that only has chain stores, and they're like, hey, we're the independent shop.
Sure.
And people are like, I come because they're an independent shop.
Yep. And they live here, and that's it. Yeah. The owner lives here.
Yeah, the owner lives here. But if you own a bigger company, or it's one of the things Simon Sinek talks about a lot, and he speaks on it really clearly, but he's like, whatever you stand for, you have to frame it in the affirmative. You have to be pushing towards the
optimistic side.
Right. Like the biggest things have come by making people believe in something, not like riling people against something. That works maybe for a little while. Maybe, but it's not how you're going to get your message across. And I think it's just so, it also takes a lot of the power away from you, because if you're against something else, let's take the skating thing. Like, let's say you're against Nike. That's your whole identity. What if Nike's like, okay, cool, we're done. We're over it.
Right.
And they leave, and then they're like, oh,
now what?
Nike's gone. So what are we? What
and
do we?
Like, we didn't do it.
What do we actually believe? Like, cool, we accomplished maybe this one sub goal, but we still don't stand for anything.
Right.
And it's weird.
You know what? I'm gonna shout out one other person because they asked for it. I don't actually know this person's real name. This person is on the internet. They go by Dracklin, and I've been posting our content to the whole freaking BitClout Deso thing, just like the YouTube video every Monday. Just post it. Dracklin. And I didn't this week. And Dracklin's all, yo, dog, where's that content? And I was like, damn, thank you. So
accountability.
I know you listen, and I didn't put it up, and it was the first Monday I haven't put it up, and you asked for it, and that meant something. That means that you actually care about the shit we say. So whoever you are in real life and your real name, thanks for that. That was tight. I appreciated it, and also it was cool accountability buddy, because I will keep sharing it. It means that it means something to somebody.
And also your name is almost Dracula.
Draculin. Yeah, I don't know.
Draculin.
So anyways, full shaka.
Shout out to Bram Stoker.
Full stand and
Nosferatu.
Let's go get some spice.
I don't even know what to say, dude.
That's the best part. And I think
I'm
that's the whole point.
If you like this, keep liking it.
Tell your friends about it.
Somebody, yeah.
Like,
that
subscribe.
Was it. It's the podcast. Mix it up.
Put it on a podcast.
Tweak the levels.
We're Cat Cloud Coffee.
Anywhere podcasts are served.
That's it. At Cat Cloud Coffee. YouTube and Patreon, Instagram and shit. We'll tell you about stuff, and you tell us what you want. It will be a hit. It's a song.